Are you, or someone you care about, wrestling with the daily reality of arthritis? That persistent ache, the stiffness that greets you in the morning, the feeling that your own body is somehow working against you. Many of you nod along, I'm sure. You've likely been told to take medications, perhaps try some gentle exercise, and eat a bit better. And you do these things, hoping for relief, thinking you're on the right path. But what if I told you that some commonly accepted advice, or even things you might be overlooking, could be subtly undermining your efforts? What if the very strategies you believe are helping might have hidden pitfalls, or that there are crucial pieces of the puzzle missing from the conventional picture? We're not just talking about minor discomforts. We're talking about factors that could be silently accelerating your joint distress, limiting your mobility, and dimming your quality of life. Today, we're not just going to skim the surface with a long list of tips. No, we're going deeper. We'll uncover some crucial truths about managing arthritis that often get glossed over, truths that could fundamentally change how you approach your joint health. Are you ready to look beyond the usual advice and discover what might really be influencing your pain and inflammation? Stay with me, because understanding these often unseen dynamics is the first powerful step towards reclaiming your comfort and your freedom. Before we explore these critical areas, let's just briefly touch upon what's happening inside your body when arthritis takes hold. Imagine your joints, those incredible hinges and pivots, aligned with a smooth, protective cushioning called cartilage. In many forms of arthritis, this cartilage becomes worn down, or the joint lining becomes inflamed. Think of it like a constant, low-grade fire smoldering within. This inflammation doesn't just cause pain, it's an active process that can further damage the joint over time. It's a vicious cycle. Now, why is this important? Because many of the things we do or don't do can either pour fuel on this fire or help to dampen its destructive power. And sometimes, the things we think are helping might have unintended consequences, almost like trying to put out a grease fire with water. Good intentions, but potentially worsening the situation. So let's start by looking at something fundamental. Movement. We've all heard it. Stay active. And it's true, movement is essential. But is all movement good movement when your joints are compromised? And what if the fear of pain is causing you to avoid movement in a way that actually backfires? For decades, the standard advice for painful joints was often rest, rest, rest. And yes, during an acute flare-up, some rest is vital. But what if that fear of movement, that instinct to immobilize a sore joint, becomes your default setting? The truth is, prolonged inactivity can be a silent enemy to arthritic joints. Your muscles surrounding the joints, they begin to weaken. Your ligaments and tendons, they tighten. Your range of motion, already challenged, shrinks further. It's a subtle decline. You might not notice it day by day. You might chalk up that increasing stiffness to just a bad arthritis day or getting older. But beneath the surface, your joints are becoming less supported, more vulnerable. Then there's the other side of the coin. What if you're pushing too hard or in the wrong way? You're determined not to let arthritis win, so you grit your teeth and power through exercises that cause sharp pain, or you repeat the same high-impact motions day after day. You might think you're building strength, but are you? Or could you be aggravating that internal fire, causing micro-trauma that your inflamed joints simply can't repair efficiently? The problem isn't activity itself. It's activity that isn't intelligent, that doesn't respect the current state of your joints. So, what should you do instead? It's not about avoiding movement. It's about smart movement. Think low impact, swimming, gentle cycling, tai chi, or specific physical therapist-guided exercises. The goal is to maintain flexibility, strengthen supporting muscles without overstressing the joint capsule itself. And here's a crucial point many overlook. Listen to your body with an almost scientific curiosity. Is this a good ache of muscles working, or a bad sharp pain signaling joint distress? Learning to differentiate is key. Before you just push through the pain, ask yourself, is this movement truly nourishing my joints, or could it be subtly eroding their resilience? A shift in approach here can mean the difference between maintaining function and inadvertently accelerating decline. Now, let's turn to your plate. You've probably heard about anti-inflammatory diets. Eat your fruits, your vegetables, your omega-3 rich fish. And that's excellent advice. But what if, despite your best efforts to eat healthy, certain foods you consume regularly are acting like hidden agitators, quietly fanning the flames of inflammation within your body? Many people focus on what to add to their diet, but they don't critically examine what they might need to reduce or eliminate. Consider highly processed foods. These aren't just empty calories, they are often packed with refined sugars, unhealthy fats, and artificial additives. Each of these can trigger or exacerbate inflammatory pathways in your body. You might think that daily pastry, those processed snacks, or that sugary soda are just small indulgences. But for a body already struggling with inflammation, these can be like throwing kindling onto that smoldering fire we talked about. At first, the effects are subtle. Maybe you feel a bit more sluggish, a little achier the next day. You might not even connect it to your diet. But over time, this chronic, low-grade inflammation, fueled by your food choices, can contribute to more persistent pain, increased stiffness, and a general feeling of unwellness. And what about common culprits that many don't suspect? For some individuals with certain types of arthritis, foods like red meat, dairy, or even nightshade vegetables can be problematic. This isn't true for everyone, of course, but the possibility is often dismissed without exploration. Are you consuming these foods in large quantities without ever considering if they might be part of your personal inflammation equation? The solution isn't about adopting an extreme, joyless diet. It's about becoming a detective for your own body. Try a systematic approach. For a few weeks, mindfully reduce or eliminate common inflammatory triggers. Keep a simple journal of your food intake and your symptoms. You might be surprised. Perhaps reducing refined sugar makes your morning stiffness less severe. Maybe cutting back on processed meats leaves you feeling a bit lighter, a bit less achy. It's about identifying your specific sensitivities. Before you reach for that convenient packaged meal or sugary treat, ask yourself, is this choice supporting my body's fight against inflammation, or is it potentially making the battle harder? Making informed, conscious food choices isn't just about nutrition. It's a powerful act of self-care for your joints. This is a sensitive topic, I know, but we need to talk about it, because carrying excess weight when you have arthritis isn't just about numbers on a scale. It's about a profound, often underestimated burden on your already vulnerable joints. You've heard that losing weight takes pressure off your knees, and that's true. Every extra pound you carry can exert about 4 extra pounds of pressure on your knees when you walk, and even more when you climb stairs. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack all day, every day. That's what your joints are experiencing. But the impact goes deeper than just mechanical stress. Did you know that fat tissue itself is not just an inert storage depot? It's an active endocrine organ, meaning it produces and releases substances, including inflammatory chemicals called cytokines. So when you carry excess body fat, you're essentially housing a factory that's churning out more of the very inflammatory messengers that aggravate arthritis. It's a double whammy: more mechanical stress and more biochemical inflammation. The effects might build slowly. Perhaps your knee pain becomes more frequent. Maybe your hips ache more after a short walk. You might attribute it solely to the progression of your arthritis. But what if a significant portion of that increased pain and reduced mobility is directly linked to the extra pounds you're carrying? This isn't about blame. It's about understanding a powerful, modifiable factor. Losing even a modest amount of weight, say 5 to 10% of your body weight, can lead to a remarkable reduction in pain and an improvement in function. We're not talking about crash diets, which are often unsustainable and can be detrimental. We're talking about gradual, sensible changes to your eating habits and activity levels. So, what should you do? First, don't see this as an insurmountable task. Focus on small, consistent changes. Perhaps it's swapping sugary drinks for water, or being more mindful of portion sizes. Combine dietary adjustments with those smart, joint-friendly movements we discussed earlier. Before you dismiss the idea of weight management as too hard or not worth the effort, ask yourself, could shedding even a few pounds significantly lighten the load on my joints and reduce the inflammatory burden on my body? The answer, for many, is a resounding yes. It's a pathway to profound relief that's often within your control. We often think of arthritis as a purely physical condition. The pain is in our joints, the stiffness in our limbs. But what if I told you that your mental and emotional state, specifically chronic stress, could be a powerful, invisible agitator, significantly worsening your physical symptoms? When you're under stress, your body gears up for a fight-or-flight response. This triggers the release of hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. In short bursts, this is a protective mechanism. But when stress becomes chronic, the day-in, day-out pressure from work, family, finances, or even the stress of managing a chronic illness itself, these hormones can go into overdrive. And what does chronic cortisol elevation do? Among other things, it can promote inflammation throughout your body. Yes, the very same inflammation that drives your arthritis pain. Think about it. Have you ever noticed your joint pain flaring up during a particularly stressful week, or that your stiffness feels more intense when you're anxious or overwhelmed? This isn't just in your head, it's a direct physiological connection. Stress can also lead to muscle tension. When your muscles are constantly tight, they pull on your joints, further aggravating pain and restricting movement. It can also disrupt your sleep. And as we know, poor sleep impairs your body's ability to repair and recover, leading to, you guessed it, more inflammation and pain. It's a relentless cycle. The danger here is that many people underestimate this connection. They focus solely on physical treatments, medications, exercises, while neglecting the profound impact of their mental state. They might feel like managing stress is a luxury, not a necessity for their joint health. So what can you do to counter this mind-body ambush? It's about actively incorporating stress-reducing practices into your life. This isn't about eliminating all stress. That's impossible. It's about building resilience. Techniques like mindfulness meditation, deep breathing exercises, gentle yoga, or even spending time in nature can help calm your nervous system. and reduce the production of those inflammatory stress hormones. Even dedicating 10-15 minutes a day to an activity you find genuinely relaxing and restorative can make a difference. Before you dismiss stress management as secondary, ask yourself, could my unmanaged stress be an invisible hand turning up the dial on my arthritis symptoms? Addressing this could be a game changer for your overall well-being and pain levels. In our quest for relief from arthritis, it's so tempting to reach for supplements and natural remedies. We see advertisements, hear anecdotal success stories, and think, maybe this is the missing piece. Maybe this will finally give me the relief I'm looking for. And indeed, some supplements can be supportive. But what if I told you that navigating the world of supplements without proper guidance could not only be a waste of money, but, in some cases, might even be unhelpful or interact negatively with your current treatments? Let's take a common example: turmeric, or its active compound curcumin. It's widely touted for its anti-inflammatory properties, and there's certainly research to support its potential benefits. But the problem often lies in dosage, quality, and bioavailability. Are you taking a form that your body can actually absorb and utilize effectively? Are you taking a dose that's therapeutic, or one that's too low to make a difference, or even too high, potentially causing digestive upset? Then there are supplements like glucosamine and chondroitin. For years, they've been the go-to for joint health. Some people swear by them, yet large-scale clinical studies have yielded mixed results. For some, they may offer mild relief. For others, no noticeable benefit. The danger isn't necessarily that they're overtly harmful for most, but are you spending your money and pinning your hopes on something that might not be effective for you, while perhaps neglecting other, more proven strategies? And what about the sheer number of joint formulas out there, often containing a cocktail of ingredients? Do you know what each ingredient does, or if they're present in meaningful amounts? Sometimes these blends can include substances that might interact with medications you're already taking for arthritis or other conditions. For instance, some herbal supplements can affect blood clotting, which could be a concern if you're on blood thinners. The truth is, the supplement industry is vast and not as tightly regulated as pharmaceuticals. Quality can vary wildly, and often we self-prescribe based on marketing rather than sound medical advice or a clear understanding of our individual needs. Just because something is natural doesn't automatically mean it's safe or effective for everyone. So what should you do instead of blindly trying every new supplement that comes along? First, prioritize discussing any supplement with your doctor or a knowledgeable healthcare provider. They can help you assess whether a particular supplement is appropriate for your type of arthritis, your overall health status, and any medications you're taking. They can also guide you on reputable brands and appropriate dosages. Focus on foundational strategies first: the SMART movement, the anti-inflammatory diet, weight management, and stress reduction we've discussed. These are the pillars. Supplements, if used, should be just that: supplemental to a solid, evidence-informed plan. Before you add another pill to your regimen, ask yourself, am I using this based on solid evidence and professional guidance, or am I chasing a quick fix that might be distracting me from more fundamental and effective approaches to managing my arthritis? We've covered a lot today, haven't we? We've looked beyond the surface-level advice and delved into some of the often unseen ways that our daily choices regarding movement, food, weight, stress, and even supplements can profoundly impact the experience of living with arthritis. It might feel a bit overwhelming, realizing that there are so many interconnected factors at play. But I want you to see this not as a burden, but as an incredible opportunity for empowerment. The traditional model often positions the patient as a passive recipient of care. But what we've explored today highlights just how much agency you have. Your doctor and your medications are vital partners, absolutely. But the choices you make every single day hold immense power to influence your pain, your inflammation, and your overall quality of life. The key is to shift from a mindset of simply coping with arthritis to actively, intelligently managing it. This means becoming a curious investigator of your own body. It means being willing to question standard advice if it doesn't seem to be working for you. It means understanding that small, consistent changes in several areas can have a synergistic, powerful effect. Don't try to overhaul everything at once. That's a recipe for feeling overwhelmed and giving up. Instead, pick one area we've discussed today that resonated most with you. Perhaps it's taking a closer, more honest look at your diet for hidden inflammatory triggers. Maybe it's committing to a gentle, consistent movement practice. Or perhaps it's finally prioritizing stress management as a non-negotiable part of your arthritis care. Start small, be patient with yourself, and celebrate every bit of progress. Remember, managing arthritis is often not about finding a single magic bullet, but about thoughtfully assembling a personalized toolkit of strategies that work for you. What's one insight from today that you plan to explore further in your own life? I genuinely want to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's create a supportive community where we can learn from each other on this journey. Because you are not alone, and there is so much you can do. Thank you for joining me today as we peeled back the layers on managing arthritis. I hope this discussion has equipped you with new perspectives and actionable ideas. If you found this information valuable, please give this video a thumbs up, share it with anyone you know who might benefit, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights into living your healthiest life. Your engagement truly helps us reach more people. Until next time, stay informed, stay proactive, and take gentle care of yourselves.